Hey guys, and welcome to Unverified. I'm Simba, and I'm joined by my boys Isaac, aka Mechna Gamer,
Sup?
and Israel, aka Izzy Rail,
Hey.
and Simi, but you may know him better as Tamago2474.
What's up?
How's it going, guys? Isn't it nice to be back on the saddle? Even though that's a bit weird because probably nobody knows what saddle we were on before. Is this a terrible analogy? I'm gonna leave the saddle analogy.
I don't know what this analogy is.
Yeah, like, wait, what saddle? What,
Back on the saddle.
what,
like,
is that a saying?
The
the
podcasting
same, my guy.
saddle.
I
What
don't
was
get
the
it.
horse?
I don't get it. I missed the joke.
We're joined by a bunch of Zoomers right now. They don't even know the phrase "back on the saddle."
I'm the youngest person here. How am I becoming the boomer, guys? You can't do this. You know?
Okay, boomers, gosh. Like, back in your day, you had to walk up the hill both ways, didn't you, I bet?
You also ruined the economy too.
Wait, walk up both ways?
Yeah.
So you know.
I just went from making an analogy to being blamed for the recession. How did we get here?
I'm literally the oldest one here, and yeah, I was called a Zoomer, so...
I feel like we've lost our way a bit. Can we where were we initially? Okay, we're back on the saddle. The podcasting saddle is what I was trying to say. But I also said a lot of people probably don't even know what saddle we were on before because obviously this is built off the back of another thing that we were doing.
The other thing is now over though, and you don't need to know about it.
You don't need to
but
know
just
about
know
it.
we're back, baby.
Yeah, now we're real ominous. See, now you said you're back and they're like, back from what?
They don't need to know Simba. They don't need to know our life.
Yeah, I guess you'll never find what we're back from, but that is just one of the many mistakes of this decade that we've all incurred and been a part of. And what a decade it's been, right, guys? It's been epic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in the new 2020, new decade. Although some people might argue that.
It's not. I don't understand why you'd argue. I personally don't get how you'd argue it's not.
Like the general argument, right, is that people are saying there was no year zero. In terms of the sort of Gregorian calendar, it started with AD 1. So people are saying that 2021 is the start of the new decade, not 2020. Now, I was confused about this because I was like, you know what? That's actually kind of a sound argument, but I still feel like we're in a new decade. So what's going on here?
Really, it's just us choosing an arbitrary point to say, yeah, we're in a new decade. And isn't it just so much nicer to, say we're in a new decade when the numbers tick over? That's just
Yes.
prettier.
Exactly. It is. And that's actually part of the explanation. So I went and did some digging. I came up to timeanddate.com, which is literally like a clock and calendar website. And what they explained is that it's more of a vocabulary thing rather than a sort of mathematical thing. It's whether you say that we're in the, I guess right now would be the 203rd decade, or we're in the decade 2020.
Yeah, kind of with this whole time thing. We just go, what looks nice on a calendar?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Human beings enjoy simplicity, so I'd rather just go with the idea that when there's a zero in the end, it's a new decade.
Pretty much.
I prefer that too.
Really, if we really wanted, we could go, 2025 is when the next decade starts, but who wants to be fat?
Yeah,
for
my
that?
next decade starts in 2023, so I don't know what you're on about.
Oh, Simba, like you're a decade behind them. Damn.
Or I'm a decade ahead.
I don't think that's quite how it works.
But yeah, I feel like that's a fun little thing. The website essentially ended with on an up note where it's like, you can technically celebrate the new decade twice. So yeah, guys, 2021, we can celebrate the new decade again.
It's kind of lame to me, but sure.
Yeah, that's kind of lame.
Simi, why celebrate it twice when you can celebrate it like every year? Just celebrate it 10 times per decade.
That's true.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, why not?
Really,
Let's go for it.
every year could be a new decade for you.
Every day is a day for celebration. But the 20s, how do you, we're in the 20s now, because before we didn't have a thing to call it, but now we're in the 20s.
That's true.
And it feels kind of cool, I was coming of age in the 20s, bruh.
Yeah, dude,
I don't know,
isn't it
man.
crazy that by the end of this decade we're all going to be 30?
Yep.
Fam.
Bro, I remember.
It's a bit mad.
I remember being in year 6, sitting. We're doing some math. Who even cares about mathematics? Bro, I was sitting by the window. This is how vivid this memory is. I had a seat by the window near the front of the class, not right at the front, one row behind.
Okay, anime character.
And here I was. I was sitting in the classroom doing my math stuff. I remember sitting there, I was like, man, it's gonna be so crazy to be like turning 18 or 19. It's like, oh, that felt like millions of years away. And now I sit here and I'm just like, oh my God, it's here.
It's here and it's gone.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
We start off this decade as like literally children. We were children.
Yeah, primary school.
I was in
Like,
there.
we can't pass as children anymore.
Yeah, we're
like
trying
when you're
now.
like 18, 19, you can kind of still pass
I
as a
couldn't.
secondary school kid. Maybe not you, Isaac.
I straight up couldn't.
You couldn't pass when you were in year 10, my guy. Like,
To be fair, low-key, I could still pass.
I think you
Unfortunately,
could
I'm growing
actually.
facial hair, so I can no longer
Yeah.
pass now.
I mean, like, now in bars, they just don't ask me for my ID anymore. They're just like, yeah, this man's on his
wow.
deathbed. Like, they're fully, like, all my friends... Yeah, all my friends heading into a bar, basically. Like, they ask all of them for my ID. They just freaking wave me in, and I'm just like, but I want to show... And he's like, no, just go in.
It's, uncle, please come through.
But yeah, it's kind of it's insane though, because you obviously like beginning of the decade, I was in primary school.
Yeah, I feel like we did a lot in that decade. We finished primary school, we finished secondary school, we finished sixth form, and like a few of us are almost finished with uni.
Yep.
Or at least the bachelor's degree or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like a lot of growth occurred
Yeah.
Yeah,
in specifically that decade. Now, obviously, 10 years, a lot of growth would occur for anyone. But if you think that decade specifically for us, just because of when we were born,
It's just the way it lined up, really.
yeah. What were you guys like favorite things from that decade? Like favorite entertainment thing just reminds like, yeah, that's what is gonna define that decade for me. Because I was just thinking like, even though for me, Breaking Bad, the TV show, even though it started before the decade, I didn't start watching it until like 2011. And I got so into it and it had such a great finale. And for me, like when I think back to this decade, I'm going to think like the best show of all time was made in this decade, or at least it finished in this decade. So
yeah.
that's just something I'm going to think
I
about.
don't think it's going to be one thing for me. I think like there's a few things that are going to define the decade for me. Like I think one thing for sure is like anime as a big thing. And I think why it's
Oh,
going to specifically going to define the decade for me, just anime as a whole, is because there were points in the decade in which I watched it a lot. And it was there like a lot of points in my life. Like now I watch it like every 4 or 5 months. I'm like, oh, I should catch up on that episode of My Hero Academia. And then I watch one episode and then don't touch it for another 5 months.
It's funny because as we're recording this, there's an episode out today.
There you go. I didn't even know that. There you go. I'd also say music. Music's a big one. Probably like
Right, for sure.
probably
yeah.
Childish Gambino is going to define this decade for me, especially if he doesn't release another album, which it doesn't look like he's going to. So Childish Gambino and probably his album Because the Internet, because I've listened to that album and songs from it many a times.
I'd say for me, it'd be Ruby, to be honest.
This man and Ruby.
No.
That's the Rooster Teeth anime, right?
Yeah, yes. A specific moment I would say would be the black trailer in Ruby. Because when I watched like the red and white trailers, I was like really impressed with the animation. I'm not the person who kind of has the effort or dedication to get into something like that. But I appreciate like the crazy amount of work that Monty Ohm, who's one of the animators, may he rest in peace.
Oh, rest in peace.
Yeah, he poured his heart and soul into this. And to watch it just kind of grow is kind of amazing for me to see through this last decade. And even though I don't like it, I just appreciate where it's come now.
Wait, you mean you don't like it now?
Yeah, I currently
Ruby
Okay,
has
right.
gone downhill. Ruby
Oh,
has gone
right,
so
right.
downhill.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things in this decade like that inspired me to just be where I'm at. Honestly, if it wasn't for the like all the stuff that I've watched and on YouTube and on the internet, I can't imagine where I'd be right now.
I mean, yeah, definitely for me, it's like anime as well throughout this decade because I only started watching it this decade and like I've really been enjoying it. And it's also what got me into writing. But like, it's not like I saw something that was like, wow, that's really good. I want to be able to write like this. Was actually the opposite. I watched Sword Art Online. I was like, I can write better than this.
Oh,
You're probably right.
Like, challenge accepted.
And so it got me down a path of really getting into writing. And then, yeah, now I'm like really into writing and I'm trying to write a thing. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
I feel like the internet really came into its own in the last decade. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, the internet has existed, and the World Wide Web specifically, since like the 70s or whatever, right? But like the last decade was when people as a whole, like no matter how old or young you are, we started to actually learn how to use it. I'm not going to say properly, but we learned how to use it at least. And like, it's a decade of the content creator. Like, people just made stuff, you know? I just love that so much about it.
Yeah.
Like, just making stuff, putting it out there.
I can imagine in no small way that influenced you a bit, Simi.
Definitely. Like, I mean, obviously, I wasn't even conscious about it at the time that I was doing something that was kind of new. You know, the whole idea of like being a kid and making stuff and putting it online for people to see. For me, like, I think we're part of the first generation where that's not a weird thing to do. It's just normal. Like, oh, I made this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it online for the entire world to see. And so, yeah, just being able to be a part of it. You know, whenever you go on like music comments, like comments of music videos from like the 80s, and they're like, oh, I was born in the wrong generation.
Oh,
nah, bro.
yep.
I feel like I was born in the right one.
So,
I
I
feel like
agree.
this is exactly where I need to be.
I honestly agree with that. Yeah.
Same.
Especially when it comes to music, because let's be real, in the stream age, you can literally stream any music you can, and plus, streaming has been so beneficial because there are so many niches that you can find literally anything, any music you want.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to like go to a record store and then, you know, start listening to different records just to
Yeah,
decide.
and even then, the record might not even exist, or it might not even be made,
Yeah.
because those things aren't popular, because the whole point of record stores during that time was it needed to be popular. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much music I couldn't imagine finding if it wasn't for the age of the internet. There's so many artists where I have on Spotify, it's like they have like 6,000, maybe 10,000 listeners. If that was a person this like day and age who lived on the other side of the world, you'd never know what their music. You'd never hear it.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, not just like music either, just media in general as well has just exploded thanks to the internet. Like
Yeah.
you've got people creating like random things, and you've got like movies and gaming becoming like multi-billion-dollar industries, and the mouse basically owns the entire world just because they, you know, control some comic book characters.
Dude, I had this weird like Zen I am one with the world moment a few weeks ago while I was running. Basically, I just went on like a 5K run every day for a month and then did like a workout after it. And while doing one of them, I wasn't really super motivated to do it, but I put on some music and I was listening to it and it kind of got me really pumped to run. It got me in the right mood, got the right energy. And midway through the run, I was like, right now, I would not have left my house, or I would not have been doing as well on this run if I wasn't listening to this person who put out music, this person who's on the other side of the world doing their own thing. If I hadn't listened to their music, I wouldn't be doing that. And now they're pushing me to now do this and give me the motivation to do other things. And I was like, that is like some weird ass synergy the world works. It's like that's amazing. It's amazing that's the kind of influence we have over each other. And like you can't like that's like, yeah, it was kind of like my oh man, I am one in the universe kind of thing, and we're all one, guys.
No, since I fully feel that, because like I didn't even listen to music that much, but like every now and again when I like really just want to get into like a proper working mood to like do an assignment or something, because uni coursework is the devil, I just like put on some music in the background and then just go in and can kind of just zen out to someone else's creation.
Yeah. I hope like in this new decade, people are even more willing to just make stuff and put it out there. Like if you've ever had any hang-ups, like don't just go for it, you know. You never know what can happen. You never know the amount of people you can help.
The worst case scenario of like putting something out there is that literally nothing will change in your life.
Honestly.
True.
I think there's some big life lessons I've learned this decade. The last 2-3 years of this decade have probably been my biggest years of growth, and I've like changed the most. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I
Fully agree.
I feel like I have changed so much in the last 2 years. I can't even recognize the person I was 2 years ago. And I've learned a lot of lessons, and I've learned how to improve myself better. What would you guys say are like your biggest life lessons from the last decade?
Ooh.
You want me to start off and then you guys?
Yeah, you start that one off.
Okay. One of them is definitely like what Isaac said, is just doing stuff. Action is such an important thing if you're trying to change, improve, do whatever. If you have an idea, just try it out as best as you can straight away, you know, and don't worry about it being polished. You know, you can polish it off afterwards. If you get the 80% of that thing done, you've done it. And then like the last 20%, it just depends on how really nitpicky you want to be. Most of the things I've done, if I do the first 80%, it's pretty much finished. And then everything else is kind of just like whatever.
Yeah, I feel that. For me, a huge one was learning that perfectionism is not helpful at all. You know, I guess when I was in primary school and like even through secondary school and sixth form, I thought that in order to do well, you had to do everything 100% correct. And it's kind of like piggybacking off of your point, Simba. I thought, no, you can't do 80%. You have to do 100%.
Yeah.
That's the only way to get it right. But often trying to go for that 100% is like exponentially more stressful than just doing the 80%. And the difference between 80% and 100% is almost never worth it.
I think then the problem is how much longer the 20% takes. The 80% is the fastest. If you do that 20%, it's probably going to take you twice as long as the rest of it. And that's the problem.
Yeah, it literally. And I'd say between 2017 and 2019, I really had to learn to be like, listen, not everything's in your control. You have to be okay with letting go and understand that you can't set perfection as a goal. It's not fun. It's not useful. And it's not even honest as well, because no one's perfect. So yeah, exactly. that's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned in the last decade.
Oh, that's a good one for sure. Have you guys got some more, or do you?
I have nothing to. I genuinely have nothing. I can't think of
this
anything.
dude learned nothing, bro. He ain't been listening the whole 10 years.
It was the exact same person he was 10 years ago, you know.
Genuinely, I do feel that way. Genuinely, I do feel that way sometimes.
Interesting.
Isaac, you got some?
Yeah, I've got a few things. Like, for me, like, my entire, like, basically this decade has kind of taken a U-turn. So, like, I would say my thing is, like, don't hide yourself away. At the beginning of the decade, like, for some reason, I just naturally drew attention and still can't really put my finger on it now. So people's expectations would keep on piling up onto me, and then they'll then get to the point where they would be unattainable and there'll be a lot of pressure on me. Like, over time, basically, it kind of got me into the mindset of, oh yeah, you know, like, just make it look like, oh yeah, you know, that you're not as good as you are. And then over time, I realized that that's just not beneficial to me as a person, because it ends up with a situation where now, because of all of that, you're not pushing yourself as hard as you could be. Obviously, yeah, like you said, don't aim for 100%. But if you know that there's something that you can attain, if you just reach a little bit more, then do it. And also another thing which I learned as well is, this is a weird one, but other people happen to be people as well. Because it's really easy to, like, just forget that, oh yeah, you know, other people have lives as well, and they aren't just characters in your own story. So their lives are equally, like, everyone you meet, their life is equally, if not more complex than your own. So you might see someone on the internet, they're like, oh, their life looks so amazing, it's so cool, but they may be struggling with their own sort of things and their own issues. At the same time, you know, some people who, it seems like, they're just a bully or something, there might be reasons for that. So it kind of ended up turning me into a better person by thinking of others as, people rather than just kind of like one just page in a book, really.
Yeah, probably my biggest life lesson, and the only reason why I made such an improvement, such a change, is there was a point, and I don't remember what point it was. There was a point somewhere in the last 2 years or so where something clicked in my head, and I came to the realization that you can literally, and it's the most cliche and most basic ass advice, but it is honestly true, and I think a lot of people don't believe it as much. Whatever it is you're trying to achieve and you're trying to become, you can actually become it. It's the amount of time it takes. If you want to become a professional artist and you've never touched a pencil in your life, it might take 5 years, but you will do it if you stick to it. If you want to be a professional musician and you don't even know what a note is, guess what? It might take you 10 to 15 years. And in the grand scale of things, that's not a lot, but it will happen and you will do it. And I think the moment I realized that was the case is the moment, like, it all switched for me. That was the moment I was like, so I can get fitter. I can get healthier. I can improve my social skills. Social skills especially. If you want to be a more sociable person, go out and do it. It's hard, and that's one of the worst ones to deal with because embarrassment sucks. You know, there's a couple times you're going to have your foot in your mouth and walk over your words, but that's the learning experience. And if you do that enough times, and if you put in the work, you will get better. I think learning that and really coming to understand it, because everybody says it, but I think a lot of people don't believe it, especially for themselves. You have to really understand that is the case. Like, honestly, if you saw me and if you knew who I was like 2-3 years ago, you'd know that that's the case. You can literally... It is the case. It's been amazing, man. You could literally change and become whatever the hell you want, but you just have to work for it. That's the hard part. It's all simple advice. It's all very simple. It's just a case of doing it. That's kind of my whole decade and my life lessons from that kind of summed up.
Let's take this energy into the 2020s. Except, World War III is kind of starting.
Yeah, that's kind of not lit. After all that improvement, we're just going to blow up planet Earth.
Yeah, you might have just wasted the last couple years improving, to be honest.
End of life.
Yeah. It's about to be mad, you know. The thing I find so funny about this is it legit was 2 days into the year, bro.
Yeah, 2 days.
Into the decade. 2 days. People out here like, yo, this is going to be the best decade ever. And it's like, nope. I'm actually so proud of the internet because their response was to meme the hell out of it. And like, sure, it is a serious situation that is way too political for me to understand right now. But holy crap, the internet has made it funny.
So I think the important question is here, what planet are you guys going to move to before the game end the planet?
That's the thing. Everyone's hyping up Mars, so that's one that everyone's going to aim for.
Yeah, I said the
why-
moon. I don't even want to go to Mars. Like,
Honestly, I'ma just drift through space. Like,
Plus, Simi, I kind of feel
I'm
that.
gonna be on that Sandra Bullock vibe where I'm just out there.
did you watch the end of that movie? But yeah, everybody's going to Mars, so Mars is a bad pick. Just like
Mars is just gonna be Earth too.
You know, like, if I could somehow warm up, maybe Pluto, because people don't even consider that a planet, so, you know.
That's a decent shout.
I know,
although
but
it's kind
like
of far, innit?
I don't want to. I feel like there's not much. You don't. There's not a lot of clout associated with saying I live on Pluto.
Bro, you get to say I live on a dog. I don't know what clout you'll gain from that, but...
World War III, this guy's concerned with clout. It's on brand at least.
If you move to Pluto, Isaac, I'm gonna have to delete your phone number off my phone. 'Cause I can't be associated.
I can't be associated with
Santi's
you.
the best
Alright.
option for clout reasons, to be fair.
To be fair, yeah, I agree with Saturn for clout.
How many rings
Yep.
are on Saturn, bro? That's
Like 7 or something?
Yeah, damn.
Yo.
Ariana Grande be damned.
Ariana Grande is gonna be hard, yeah. But then all the Ariana Grande stands are gonna go to Saturn.
Oh, no.
You can't
See,
do
that's the
that.
issue. None of the cool places, none of the clout-worthy places are, like everyone will go there anyway, because, like,
Everyone's there want to go. Can we go to the sun? Can we just live on the sun? sun
again, I was
sounded
agreeing
like-
with Simi. I was agreeing with Simi just orbiting myself around the sun.
It might be a little hot,
Nah.
to be honest, but you know.
You know, I said the moon initially, and I'm kind of 50-50 about the idea because of how close it is to Earth. But while they're in the process of shutting down the servers, it might be cool to have a view. Do you know what I mean? To have a view of them destroying planet Earth. Do you know, I feel like that would be cool.
It would be kind of cool, you know. It's like seeing your house get demolished.
So, but what if they start storing weapons on the moon and something goes wrong? Then, you know, you're...
Well, the minute they start doing that, I'm just gonna start
Like,
drifting in space with
Simba,
Simi.
why do you think all these countries are trying to go to the moon again? You know, it's just a ruse to put weapons up there. That's all it is. They're
Me
getting
and
prepared.
Simi are gonna find Brad Pitt's dad near the edge of space.
All right, I'm curious, you know, like, so let's say you guys get drafted. Let's say we all get drafted. What are you doing? What's your role? What's your role in the war?
What's my role?
You see, I'm a
what's your
uni
role?
student, so, like,
See, I
please
have
no.
a role already because I've always wanted to fly like military jets, but I'm just too much of a wuss.
Alright.
I'll be the
you're in the Air
engineer
Force.
for radios.
Radio engineer.
I would be one of the engineers since, like, that's less likely to die.
So none of you guys are going to be on the front
I
line.
was literally about to say, so
guys don't
Simi's
even love
going
your
front
country.
lines, isn't he? Simi's gonna Naruto run into
Simi, you
that.
can die alone. Like,
Nah, I'm good. I ain't gonna be on front lines either. I'm just gonna be the guy who's like, yo, good luck, guys, good luck. I'm gonna be waving them through.
Simi's gonna be the
I ain't gonna
hype
step
man
out
for
myself.
the war. I don't think that's a role.
man.
You got this, bruv. You got this. See you in the afterlife, yeah?
No, they might let Simi go free because, you know, he's a social media influencer. So if he uses his, you know, like, YouTube to start drafting kids to the war,
Whoa. Hey guys, this video is sponsored by the Royal Air Force. Have you ever wanted to fly a plane?
Doesn't this count as government propaganda?
Perhaps. But if I put a disclaimer in the description, it'll be fine.
What's the disclaimer gonna be? Don't join the Air Force. That's a bad sponsor. Since World War III is going to be the kind of event of the decade, does that mean we're going to have Travis Scott playing?
That's true. We're gonna be jumping out of the helicopter to sicko mode. Like legit, right on that beat drop.
Simi, I'm not gonna lie to you. If I'm actually one of the engineers, then, like, you might not be jumping up the plane. The plane might just fall. So
Yeah, if Isaac's engineering any of the planes, I'm dropping out of the military Air Force. I'm going to be a grunt. I'll take my chances on the front line.
what if I design your gun?
Okay, well, I'll just go back to the human being roots, our roots. I'll just use a club.
Just use pointy stick. Just use rock.
I'll use club, and if that fails, I'll use sharp club.
You know, I personally feel like this generation would be the worst generation to send to war because at least with like the generation that went to World War II and generation that went to Vietnam, right? They were raised on the heels of a previous war. Like World War II was raised on the heels of World War I. Vietnam was raised on the heels of like World War II and the Cold War kind of. They were still in it. So like they kind of were they were ready. It was on site for them, right? But us, we've been raised on memes and YouTube. So like, if they try and send us, it's not going to end well.
See, I don't want to use this as a point, right? I really don't want to use this as a point, but I slightly disagree because video games, like, don't get me wrong, a lot of people are going to be fat and lazy, but like, they're going to have better hand-eye coordination, man.
Hand-eye coordination is going to be great, but if you can't hold the gun, that's not going to be great either.
Bro, Simba, which is why you get them in fit, which is why you train them.
Twitter fingers don't really do much for workouts.
Bro, training camp is going to be We Fit.
It's going to be in the Nintendo Switch Ring. Come on, Simi, catch up. Now you're being the boomer.
Wait, is that what the new We Fit is called now?
Yeah,
Ring Fit, right?
Ring Fit Adventure.
That's the future. Don't be a boomer, Simi.
Future of exercise, don't go outside to exercise. Just
hey, if I'm a boomer, I might not get drafted. So you Zoomers, you can stay over there, okay? I'm cool being a boomer.
What would you actually do though if you actually just got a draft letter?
I'll actually be
Take me to jail. I don't even care. I'm robbing someone so I don't get
Actually,
drafted the next day.
UK jail's pretty tight.
Yeah.
I'd take it.
You know what? If a bunch of people did that, like a whole lot of people did that, jail would become so calm. It would just be a bunch of law-abiding citizens just like, yo, what's up, my guy?
I don't want to go to war, so
Yo, what you in for? Draft dodging? Yeah,
man. Walk in and then dude's like, draft letter? Like, draft letter.
Just because you see one guy, yo, what you in for, mate? Second degree murder. Oh,
hey, all right. Gotta go back with the draft letter. Dude's over there.
Yeah, like we're just gonna go over here and play Fortnite with my boys. I ain't listening to that.
The only game ending I do is in Fortnite. Okay.
Nah, but for real, if World War III actually breaks out, I'm going to Nigeria.
Same.
Yeah.
My dad's been building a house in Nigeria.
Same Israel. I mean, not simple. You can, as long as you can get your own passport. Then like I've got a house in Nigeria. You can stay with me.
Yeah, bro. It's all chill.
Yeah, fam. I was born in Zimbabwe, so the minute we start getting drafted, I'm Zimbabwean again.
Exactly.
Straight up, I'm back home. I'm be like, yo, I'm home, guys. What's up?
Well, of course, hopefully, World War III won't break out, and it's all just fun and games. If it turns out that is true, then
can't we just solve this all with Rocket League? Honestly,
if China gets involved, if I hear if I start seeing China on Twitter about World War III, that's it. I'm ready, but I'm buying my tickets. I'm out, boys.
Yeah, bro. I'm
China
gonna be
or Russia.
permanent Pepe
I'm
face.
gonna get those last
invoices
invoices come into my account, and I'm out.
Just get that paper and then run.
You're gonna set that email to. I won't be available for the next 5 years.
Yeah, I'm just gonna set auto responder. So Simba is not gonna be available until whenever all of this stops.
If you can't get out of the country, it was nice knowing you.
It was
Peace.
nice knowing you, mate.
Sorry, guys, but
Bro, I wonder how many people are gonna go to Switzerland or something.
Switzerland would be a calm place to be. Those guys never get involved.
Nah, they never do.
They're just
anything.
like, it's not my business, bro. It's not my business.
In the Netherlands, Jesus is trending more than
I was about to say, wasn't
right
Jesus just trending in the Netherlands earlier today? Higher than World War III and everything else, just Jesus.
Of course. Why wouldn't our Lord and Savior be trending? Nah, if we get drafted though, it's gonna be lit.
Bruh, no, it's not.
What do you mean?
It literally
Lit. Yeah, it'll literally.
The only thing
lit.
getting lit is the gun bullet
Yes.
to my head.
Part of me is I want to kind of see what our generation would be like if we had a world war.
I do. I just don't want to be a part of it. I want to view it. I don't want to be a part of it. I know how that sounds, but I like living.
I would see a simulation of it.
That's it.
But you don't have to make it happen.
Like the draft age is once you're over 26, right? That's fine. But let's say we get to that age and we imagine the generation after us going into the Fortnite generation.
Simba. Okay, I don't think it's going to be all of them, but at least one person will Fortnite dance towards the enemy. At least one person. One of the dances.
And there will be a few vloggers as well. Let's not lie.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about people vlogging during the draft. Oh my lord.
Wild.
Yo guys, what's up? Today we're gonna be invading this little faction. If this video's up, then you know I made it. But
live streaming it as well, see me just so that's where they are.
IRL stream. Nah, you'll be mad. It'd actually be mad.
Imagine Logan Paul gets drafted. That would be hilarious.
Pranking in the Iranian desert gone wrong.
Gone wrong.
How does that go right is my question.
How wrong did it go? How wrong did it
I don't
I
know.
can imagine an IRL stream where some guy is legit just giving the enemy details and information. Just straight up intel, like they're coming from this corner.
Oh my god.
The government will try to shut Twitch down.
I didn't even think about like the internet during a World War III type of like situation. There would be so many people doing stuff like that, like live streaming.
Yeah.
And, oh my god, that would be kind of amazing. You'd have so many angles of like and views of what's going on.
Nah, dude. And then the commentary channels would be like, yo, when that guy blew that dude up, I don't know, man. It was looking kind of sus to
It
me.
would low
Like,
key feel like the Hunger Games with all the like kind of views you'd have.
it
like,
would.
like
it would.
genuinely. Oh my god.
I kind of want to see that now.
You guys are kind of getting me hyped for World War III now.
God damn it.
We are professional promoters.
Oh, I'm gonna be watching the stream from my prison cell.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
this
same.
podcast was actually sponsored by International Disarray. So we
Hey guys, we'd like to shout out to our sponsor, World War III. If you would like to see the demise of all of humanity, then just keep tweeting.
Yeah.
tweet with hashtag mutually assured destruction.
It's gonna be lit. Low key, I was kind of there was a part of me that was like worried. Now I'm just kind of excited to see it. Now I kind of
Unfortunately, yes,
now
so
you're
am
not
I.
wishing for World War III. God damn it.
I feel like it'll be entertaining.
It would be, and I'm like I said, prison style. I'm gonna be sitting with my draft friends. We'll be sitting in prison together, just watching World War III.
Let's go.
But honestly, how many people do you think are gonna take our prison plan?
If it happened, a fair amount of people would actually.
There's
Quite a
gonna be
lot.
a lot of us.
Well, how many people actually know that that's even a thing, that if you're in jail, you can't get drafted?
Not probably.
Yeah,
I don't know how many
'cause
people know now, but if people start getting drafted, a lot of people will know.
That's fair, yeah. The crime rates will skyrocket. Partially because of disarray, partially because of people just wanting to be arrested to not
Yeah,
get
there'll be a
drafted.
lot of people who
Yeah.
will just do it to like who get them like will do like commit crimes just for the sake of it's like you could just I don't know, call a police officer fat or something. I don't know.
No, but you know what happened?
don't
They will
like
actually
issues.
make sentences less harsh. You will have to do more bad things to get in prison. They'll be like, "Oh, you stole that thing, but it was only worth £20. You can still join the army." And so it's like, "Oh, god damn it!"
Nah, man.
You have to actually properly break the law.
And now I have to murder a man so I don't have to murder a man. Damn it.
Oh, but that man was like 70 years old. He couldn't have drafted himself. You can still go. You can.
It's the game and it's okay to game end your neighbors as long as they're 80 plus years old. That's the rule.
Yeah, don't
Is it-
worry. You didn't do anything wrong. You can still join the army.
Fine, I'll rob the queen then. Does that make anything?
The queen has a lot of stuff. She
Yeah,
has a
it's
lot of
fine.
stuff already.
It's
She can
fine.
spare a few things.
Yeah.
You can still join the
The
army.
queen is the only
Like-
person who can enforce capital punishment, so probably not her.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
That is a fair point.
Yeah.
That is a fair point.
She can
Well,
literally
like, well,
have you
she's got a lot of stuff
decapitated.
anyway, so, she's got a lot of stuff, so, she doesn't mind. It's fine. You can get
I
drafted into
don't know
war.
about that.
I mean, during wartime, they might just go, just join the army.
But yeah, the end of the world, it's gonna be lit. I'm gonna enjoy it from my lovely, beautiful prison cell. Who wants to join me in prison when the World War III happens?
Me.
Bro, I'm
I'll-
bunking with you, mate. You're
No,
gonna be my roommate.
I'll take
Let's
my
go.
place in
Hey
Nigeria.
man, Simi, if you work really hard,
Nigeria.
because UK prison is a joke, we can just like I don't know, we can save up and buy like a PS4 or something. We can play The Last of Us.
Let's do it. Let's do it, my guy. We are buying The Last of Us Part 2, though. I'm sorry. That's the first game we're getting when we go into that prison
okay,
cell.
well that's the first argument because I would be buying Cyberpunk first, but this is a bit awkward. I
okay,
think
well,
on
that's a
that note-
discussion
yeah,
for later.
I think on that note, it's a good time to call it a day. What do you boys say? I think that was a fun one. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so if you're waiting for World War III and you're like, what do I do in the meantime? I just listen to this podcast. It'll help you out.
Yeah.
Give you some tips and tricks. I don't know if it's illegal to tell you how to avoid going to World War III and being drafted, but that's a problem for futurists, and screw those guys. But
I mean,
hope you,
Simba, like, the worst they can do is arrest us, and then,
exactly. That would be terrible.
Oh no, I'm going to prison now.
Oh, everyone's getting drafted. I'm being arrested. Oh man.
Oh, shucks.
Oh, damn.
That will be a shame. So hopefully that doesn't happen, guys. But
If you're hyped for World War III, just,
Okay.
like, Just type hashtag mutually assured destruction in the comment section, guys.
If
Hopefully
you're
we're
hyped
all
for
still
World War
alive.
Three, that is exactly. If you're hyped for World War Three, and if you are hyped for World War Three, let us know on our Twitter pages. I'm at SwizzyIV on Twitter. Is Rogan, you want to let them know what your Twitter is?
I am at iOrumilade or at Izzyroll300 because I have two Twitter accounts because Twitter is garbage. So yeah.
Lit. Isaac, where can they find you on Twitter?
I mean, technically, it doesn't even exist right now, but at MechNagamer, like
Whenever it's there.
it's in the ether right now because it's deleted, but I keep refreshing it, so there.
And Simi, I know most people will already know, but where can they find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter and everywhere on the internet at Tamago2474. I have a question though. Where can they find the unverified social media profiles?
Well, the unverified social media, very wonderful question. Because a lot of internet pages don't like you putting that name in the title, you can find us on almost any social media platform at Unveriv Show. That's at UNVERIF Show. And on YouTube, we are just Unverified. So if you go to youtube.com/channel/c/unverified or youtube.com/unverified, you can find us very easily there. And you can come in, I don't know, wait out World War III in prison while listening to some of the podcasts and watching some of our great content. And until that time, we'll see you later. And I hope you have a wonderful day, week, month, year, or decade. Goodbye.
If it lasts that long. Peace out, guys.
Peace out. Don't forget
Peace.
to floss on the enemies.